This episode of FineScale Modeler's new product rundown features Moebius's Wonder Woman, ICM's World War I Model T, IBG's latest Scammell Pioneer, Hasegawa's Myrt, and green strawberry details.
New product rundown, proudly brought to you by Hobbyco, distributors of fine model kits from Italy, and by Cult TV Man's Hobby Shop, the place to go for science fiction and fantasy kits and accessories. Welcome to FineScale Modeler's first new product rundown of 2018. I'm Aaron Skinner.
And I'm Elizabeth Nash. Let's start the year with a subject from one of 2017's biggest films, Wonder Woman.
Although this kit is actually branded for the heroine's first appearance in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. She's arguably the highlight of that film.
It's part of a trio of kits from the 2016 movie, the others being Superman and Batman.
Now this is a resin kit, a medium that Moebius has previously used for such complex figures as Conan.
The beautiful box opens to reveal 9 parts in individual compartments in a foam container.
The castings are clean. Take a look at the crisp edges on Diana's bodice and tasset, including the straps for the scabbard and lasso.
The face captures the lines of Gal Gadot beautifully, and the musculature of the neck and arms is dead on for the actor's physical appearance. The hair is a single piece with strands hanging behind and in front of the shoulders.
The right leg separates at the hip, whereas the left joins at the knee. Both incorporate thigh-high armored boots with sharply molded plates and straps.
One of the great things about the kit's design is that most of the part joins will be hidden under overlapping sections. The left arm attaches at a band around the bicep, and the right hand gripping the sword slips into the gauntlet. The casting of the sword hand is outstanding with defined nails. The sword blade is very thin. Our sample is slightly warped, but that should be easily remedied with a little hot water and light pressure.
Also thin is the shield. The back side has strap attachments that match straps molded on the left arm.
The final part is a heavy rock base that matches a rock cast with the left foot.
One of the things that is hard to see in the images is how dynamic the pose is. Wonder Woman is leaning far forward on the base as if about to leap into the air.
The parts are very clean with just a few minor pinholes, and a couple of seams that should be easily sanded off. The instructions suggest colors and finishing ideas, as well as construction hints.
This is a terrific kit that should be a pretty easy build. The proof will be in the painting.
Next, here's ICM's 1/35 scale Australian World War I Model T utility car.
Ford built tens of thousands of Model Ts, and they were used widely throughout the war,
including several used in combat by Australian troops in Palestine in 1917 and 18.
ICM's kit includes a good representation of the 4-cylinder engine with separate block, head, sump, fan and plumbing, and intake manifold. The exhaust includes a manifold and muffler.
The radiator is molded with the front axle and spring. The rear half includes the coolant tank.
The ladder frame chassis is molded with the fenders and running boards.
The rest of the running gear includes a rear axle with spring, frames, and steering. The bed includes a floor, sides, with curved outer panels, and rear panel with separate tailgate.
The cab has a seat, firewall, panels with doors molded outside and inside, rear wall with fabric sides and roof, steering wheel and pedals.
The hood comes in halves with finely molded louvers and separate grab handles. The wheels have the tires and hubs molded together with fine spokes.
Clear Plastic supplies glass for the collapsible windshield, windows for the sides and back of the cab, and lenses for the head, cab, and tail lights.
Decals provide markings for 2 Australian vehicles in Palestine in 1918.
This is one of the more unusual military vehicles I've seen, but it'll look great on my shelf between the Aussie Leopard and M113 fire support vehicle.
Speaking of unarmored military vehicles, here's IBG's newest version of its 1/35 scale Scammell Pioneer, the R100 artillery tractor.
The heavy 6x6 truck with walking beam suspension served the British Army throughout World War II.
A few episodes back, we looked at the engineering recovery version of IBG's kit.
This one represents the artillery tractor with a covered bed.
As you'd expect, this kit shares many parts with the recovery variant, including the engine with block, intake and exhaust manifolds, plumbing and mechanicals, and fuel tank.
The springs, wheels and tires, differential and driver controls are also shared.
As are the cab parts, radiator, fenders, and the underbed tow winch.
New are longer chassis rails that fit under a new bed.
The raised sides give clearance for the rear wheels while the front section covers the winch.
Other new parts include the bed sides, back wall with separate tailgate, cab wall, and bed roof with lifting block.
All of the new parts show the same fine molding as the shared items.
Clear parts provide the windshield, side windows, and lights.
A photo-etch fret supplies a toolbox, engine fan, chocks, supports, mud flaps, a shifter gate, seat supports, frames, and more.
Decals and color diagrams give markings for 5 pioneers, including 2 British trucks in France in 1940, another in Italy in 1943, and one in France after D-Day. The last is a captured Pioneer in Luftwaffe service on Crete in 1943.
According to FSM reviewer Mike Scharf, IBG Scammell goes together well, but the number of parts make for an involved project.
Our only aircraft this episode is not new, but it looks terrific. Hasegawa's 1/48 scale Nakajima C6N1-S Saiun night fighter.
Several of these fast reconnaissance aircraft were fitted with upward-angled 20 or 30mm cannons and used as night interceptors to counter American bombers.
This kit represents one of those planes. The fuselage halves show fine recessed panel lines typical of Hasegawa kits,
as do the one-piece lower and separate upper wing halves.
A nice feature is the inclusion of separate lowered flaps and leading-edge slats. The remaining control surfaces are molded in place and have thin trailing edges.
Cockpit detail includes a floor, walls, pilot seat with control and oxygen tanks, gunner seat, instrument panel, and the 30mm cannon. The twin 20mm guns are supplied as metal parts.
The Hamare 21 radial engine comprises cylinders, crankcase, intake manifold, firewall with open cowl flaps, exhausts, and cowl.
The landing gear includes multi-part doors and bulge tires.
Clear parts provide the canopy, wingtip lights, and belly windows. This kit does not allow for the canopy to be posed open.
Decals provide markings for 2 late war fighters from the 302nd Naval Flying Group.
This kit has good details and nice features. If you like Japanese fighters, you'll want one in your collection.
Finally, let's look at some detail sets from Green Strawberry, a Czech company that specializes in science fiction subjects.
Yeah, they have a range of photo-etch, resin, and mask sets covering most of the currently available kits,
including the Zvezda 1/2700 scale Star Destroyer. We looked at Revell's reboxed version of the model several episodes back.
First is a PE set with detailed bays for the neck and sides, replacement supports for the shield generators, and a new bridge facing.
And, perhaps most interesting, a way to backdate the kit's Imperial II class Star Destroyer by turning the tractor beam targeting array on its end.
The other set comprises resin and PE replacements for the kit's engine bells. The details and construction make for more refined replicas on this critical area of the vessel.
While we're on Star Wars, there's a set of masks for Bandai's 1/72nd scale T-65 X-Wing. This is the version from the original movies, rather than the T-70 seen in The Force Awakens and Last Jedi.
In addition to the canopy, the set has masks to paint the ship's wing ID markings. There are openings for up to 6 trailing edge stripes.
From Battlestar Galactica, there's a set for Moebius's 1/32nd scale Colonial Viper Mark II. This is the white and red fighter from the reboot series.
There's a ton of stuff in this set, including optional early and late instrument panels with or without long-range scanners, framing for the canopy, landing gear details, a harness, antennas, vents, and plumbing.
Optional paper and film displays allow for the model to be built with and without lights. And it even includes paper remove before flight tags.
For Moebius's latest BSG kit, the 1/32nd scale Raptor, here's a set of masks.
There are self-adhesive masks for the canopy as well as the steps on the wings.
And for all of us Trek fans, here's a photo etch set to detail AMT's 1/1400 scale Enterprise D.
It includes PE phaser arrays, engine vents, doors, and more. These items will lift the 30-year-old kit.
As a fan of science fiction, I'm pleased we're getting so much help from the aftermarket. Between Paragraphics and now Green Strawberry, we've got so many detail sets out there to choose from. I used Green Strawberry sets for Bandai's Little Millennium Falcon recently, and they worked flawlessly.
Look for a build of Wonder Woman in an upcoming issue of FineScale Modeler magazine.
And you can find more new products in the February issue on sale now.
Thanks for visiting FineScale.com. While you're here, head on over to the Kalmbach Hobby Store to check out our books, special issues, and essential tools. I'm Elizabeth Nash.
And I'm Aaron Skinner. We'll see you next time.
Happy New Year. Cow flaps. Moo.
It's
Almost there.
the weirdest Pegasus in the world.